Yo, what's up guys? Another Siege video. One of those interesting units that I called out when checking this out was like, hey, Dark Homunculus, is this right? Why is the Dark Homunculus one of the highest Siege offense success rate units in game? Arguably the highest because the Shihua and the Kaito are very low on the use case. You might say 0.7 is not crazy high as well compared to like a 4 or a 2.9 over there, but it's sitting at a really good success rate. People did tell me it is the team of the Hyannis plus a Farad plus a Dark Homunculus. So I tried it out in this video, and let's see how good that actually is, because the meta is a lot of those Lamilas, a lot of those Byunchos, a lot of those things that you can actually outspeed with a team like that. So let's see how good that does. Because you guys always ask, like, what are the runes on those? I'll just start off with the runes. Got a few upgrades on Vio, so most of the units that you will see were on a set similar to this, or there were will runes and then it was like 4 or 5 speeds slower. This was the team that a lot of people did tell me to use with the Homunculus on Dark. The Verret was looking something like this. Bit of crit rate, bit of accuracy, bit of speed. I think it would be better if the Verret is actually faster than this unit rather than this banana thing being slower. However, yeah, that was just kind of the sets that I was working with. I'll go through all of the sieges. It will be a pretty quick one because I was cleaving everything, but no Lucians this time. So I had some creative cleaves in there, but for all of the runes that you were seeing out there, it were all pretty much these kind of runes, just on different kind of units, back and forth for all of the artifacts, lots of additional damage artifacts, and a lot of cleave kind of style of matches. So starting off a very first hit with a good old Tiana, especially if they don't have a fire threat that is very high on the danger. I really like to go for this chunk punk kind of comp, and then it's just easy cleanup and all of those units pretty fast. Another very typical hit over here is one of those, and yeah, this is one of those teams. I wouldn't mind to have multiple of them. I do have a second Amber right now. If I get a second Tomoe and a second Hacker, I would keep them because this team is used for me legit every single time. Sure, there's replacements to the Hacker and the Tomoe. You can go for Noras, you can go for well, I would say maybe Nora plus a Hyannis. I should build multiple Hyannises as well, because that unit is also pretty strong in this meta. And then another hit that I do very typically, but we're going to go into more creative hits after this, because I've only been hitting these kind of defenses where it was mainly a leader skill, which was HP, so therefore you go for anything that you can just simply outspeed Tianas, but also different kind of versions of simply outspeeding, cleaving it, and just not giving it any turns, because that's the best way to play Siege. If they don't take turns, they can't Vio. And this team with the Homunculus is definitely one of those teams. In this case, I did have the Homunculus moving in front, or no, wait, after the Verret. So the Verret was on exact that set that I showed earlier. So in this case, do not get the pushback over there on the right side. Is a little bit unfortunate. Does get the additional turn, so we're already looking at extended freezes over here. Does get stunned over here, but you also get that S2, the Mandrake. It's just so much pushback potential. It's so much slows. We're looking at 2-turn freeze and 3-turn freeze already. We're going for more pushbacks into another snowstorm. So yeah, the freeze amount that we're looking at is absolutely insane. Plus the damage of the Hyannis is pretty strong. With the unbalanced field, you get the speed buff, you get the slow. They're just not taking any turns. So definitely for the people that told me earlier, this team is definitely very strong, and it does showcase why it's one of the best win rate units out there. This team is more of just like a fun team. If you do anything with the Zhongcheng Lao, you give a bar to the unit in the middle, the Layla, and then you can start spreading and doing stuff. Well, in this case, did get a Switch of Destiny on me, which is not that convenient, but we do have some more Summon Clouds, and then every time you just see the S2 or like the attack bar gain on the middle unit, which is just absolutely insane. You get so much attack bar gain, increase attack bar, increase attack bar, increase attack bar, S2, increase attack bar. That's just so freaking much attack bar gain on this unit. Every lightning bolt, every everything. It's like, if we're just looking over here, it's just attack bar increase, attack bar increase, attack bar increase. This hit right now, ooh, does absolutely nothing because your Oblivion super strong as well. And more attack bar gain. Look at it. It's just full attack bar again. This team is really stupid. It's not like the safest of hits, like you can miss a bunch of things, but it's definitely a fun offense where you just get so much attack bar gain throughout and with everything. And it's just, yeah, it's a funny hit that way. It definitely has to have the damage from the additional damage artifacts. Otherwise, you're not dealing too much damage on middle and left unit. But Zhongcheng Lao can do some damage by itself. But yeah, definitely a fun offense right there, which just So much on the add damage, and actually a lot of the to come offenses all add damage. Such as this one, coming back with a Light Jin. Light Jin is also a fun unit, especially if they don't have any will runes, makes my life very easy to just go for pushbacks. In this case, I was like, oh, did not push back that much, did not stun that much, so you can go for an AoE stun over here. Did get an AoE stun on 2 units, which was like, maybe not the best. If they would have started proccing over there, could have been a little bit bad. But the moment the Jin, I would say his S2 is pretty nice against an earlier, or it's actually not that great. Like his S2, it is kind of decent-ish, but his S1 is actually where the real value comes, where you just get a lot of dots in, you get a lot of attack bar absorbs, you get a lot of attack bar decreases. It's more of a single target, the turn denier, than a AoE turn denier, I would say, because you can see that over here. This thing is not even taken remotely close to taking any turns, and you're just denying all of that attack bar. Then, next hit, a very similar style, but in this case, I don't have a second Jin, so we're gonna go in with a Bludgeon. So in this case, we did get a stun on the left one, which is the hardest one for Bludgeon to push back. So that is, or not necessarily push back, but just dot in the first place. But yeah, shit ton of dots in there. Bludgeon is a really insane daughter. But the thing is that after her skill 3, it takes a bit of time for her to rack up some actual value. But if she just kills on this skill 3, it's really good. So then I'm also using my second Amber just to get that second Amber in. In this case, I did not have a speed leap, but I was like, if everything is will, it kind of goes okay, right? So still using the exact same rune sets where everything is like about 195 to 200-ish Vio and the spare set. And then just make your way work from there, shit ton of additional damage artifacts, and then we're just clearing it this way. But I had to keep fighting the same teams over and over, and I was like, I don't want to go for Sonias, I don't want to go for Lucians, I just want to go for creative hits. And this right here was definitely a creative hit, using both of the Indras that are buffed. So, first of all, this Indra is pretty high on the effective rate of landing anything. This one is pretty good. I think I should have went more for attack stats and more additional damage by attack, because his output was not that crazy. Bomb damage on that one, 31k bomb. That was a solid and a half bomb, and that's a Vio set as well. So that was like, yo, that's actually a proper bomb damage set right there. We actually have a rotation where we have 2 bombs coming in. Also, there was branding. Branding definitely does help for the bomb as well. So you have the first bomb landing in, additional turn. Yep, you know what's coming. More brands as well. This team is... not too sure if I would be using this more often, but it was definitely showcasing not that bad. So I might be running this more often. But probably my guild says it's too RNG. Either out. Bomb right now. How much damage? 63.887. That's a lot of damage. And then the final hit of the day. I did say no Sonya, but I did not say no Light Siri though. Light Siri is a little bit better in this. It's a little bit harder to rune because you have to get the 100 crit rate as well. But it does have the 2 follow-up hits, which is very good against Byunchils, because Byunchil at high HP has the full passive, therefore you don't deal as much damage. But the moment you already chipped a lot of damage, the Siri is actually one of those units that is pretty good to taking out a Byunchil. In most cases, it does work. And in most cases, people don't go minus light. People would go minus wind. People would maybe go minus water. Not really, mostly minus wind. But yeah, that was the 10-10 over there. Did showcase the Homunculus on Dark. I definitely do think it's a very strong offense, and a lot of people should run that up. You can go for Swift, you can go for Despair, you can go for Violent. It's just kind of depending on where you have your best runes, what works best for you. But definitely do give this team a try, because in the end, it did show it is one of the highest win rate units out there. And as far as I know, the Homunculus Dark is only used in this team. If you do know any other team where the Homunculus Dark is used, let me know in the comments. See you as always in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.